Is it true that everyone is the villain in someone else's story? Who are you the villain for? The ex-friend that I loaned $600 to about 5 years ago must think I am so evil he has avoided me ever since. Probably the customer that tried to walk into my shop at 8:45 this morning and slammed the door, storming off when I told him we'll be open in 15 minutes. I was a teacher for a long time, so I am sure I'm the villain to many of my former students. I am currently an administrator, so I am sure I'm the villain to some of my former teachers after evaluation scores come through lol. I like to think I'm a very minor villain for the scammers who call me. Wasting their time can be amusing. Probably a dude named Mark. He was extremely awkward while growing up in school. Like, the extreme end of awkward. But ultimately a nice guy. In one class that we had together in junior high, I was seated in the front row. Without thinking about that part is all on me. I slumped in my chair, threw my legs out, and all while he was walking in. He tripped right over my legs, and thought that I did it on purpose. I didn't. He decided that we were enemies right then and there, though, and he wouldn't listen to any apology that I tried to make. The fly population of my apartment complex. Of course, there will always be people who have negative thoughts and feelings towards you, no matter how nice or kind you are. I'm not just a villain. I'm a monster to some people. Because I choose. Probably my brother-in-law. He pushed my sister-in-law when they were dating, and I always thought he was a total douchebag. During the period they were broken up, I told everybody how I always thought he was such a chode. Of course, they ended up getting married and having kids. But still think he's a smarmy fuck. Childishly never says hi or bye to me at family gatherings, but will to everyone else. Most of the people I knew in high school and college before I learned to cope with my borderline personality disorder. I still struggle with BPD, but I can control my outbursts better now. I burned so many bridges for trivial reasons, and I'm embarrassed to look back on it. Most people have years-long friendships from their school days, but I really don't, because I wrecked everything I touched. I'm the villain for myself. My asshole friend who was once a best friend, whom spent 8 years of our relationship putting me in shit situations. The final boss for her was when I finally reacted. But sure enough, with the sheer power of stupidity and the help of a toxic friend of ours, she found a way to rid herself of me and surround herself with similar dumb people. Yay, we love happy endings. His name was Scott and it was 1983. I wish I could apologize and explain. My dentist boss, kind of. The people I quit talking to 15 years ago. I'm sure they have said unflattering things about me. Probably my brother's in-laws. They seemed to think they were a fairly intelligent group of people. But when they met me, I'd constantly point out where they were wrong in their Facebook posts. Did you know that daddy long legs are the most poisonous spider, but their fangs are too small to bite humans? When my now wife and I were first dating, and still dating other people, I unintentionally thwarted another dude trying to date her. She had AAA, and I had car trouble. She cancelled a date with him to come help me with my car. This was the second time she cancelled on him to be with me for what was a real reason. She was trying to be mean. But he did give after that. Robin, sorry dude. But not that sorry. Several of my exes, a couple former co-workers, and about half the UN. Everyone. I will find you and get revenge, you know who you are. Recently I left a dead group chat. Besides me, there were 2 people I had no contact and my friend. And after I left, my friend sent me screenshot of one of remaining group chat members being like OMG. Demon of the past strikes back and then lying about how we lost contact XD, so I am not only villain in my ex-friend's life, I'm also a demon. I hold firm that villains rarely know they are villains and believe they are acting in just ways. Ergo, it would be a safe assumption that somebody considers you a villain despite your efforts to act justly. I've mentioned it a couple of times, but I went out with a receptionist from work a few times. I wouldn't exactly say we dated. More like we'd hang out and have sex. One day a man approached me and wanted to know if I was you handsome Jim. It turned out she was married. I had no idea. My condo manager fucking hates me. I definitely play into it though. We are not friends. I have an ex or 2 that might have a story or 2 about how I'm the villain. And I'm quite okay with that. All the people I cut off in traffic. Let me find my list. Probably a few of my students who feel like I screwed him over. Maybe the shitty guy who I insulted at a party. Not sure he thinks about me too much though. Did a favor for an elder of a club I was in. He blew it off. When I mentioned it to someone later, they sprinted straight over to blab. In minutes. We had a talk. When asked if I had something to say, I thought 15 seconds and simply said nope. The situation is past and I've learned a lesson. It's been 35 years. He's barely spoken to me since. Sometimes an argument just isn't worth the damage it causes. I was kicked out of my fraternity due to mental problems I was struggling with after my father's death. One of the guys assaulted a girl and founder of our student club, which he told us about when she pressed charges I supported with my testimony. He was found guilty as a mild sex offender but also got mostly a slap on the wrist and managed to keep it quiet. For some reason I get a lot of dirty looks now from everybody that used to affiliate with my old fraternity. Most likely true. I could say for sure whose lives I'm considered the villain of. But I have a few solid ideas of a few that have made me the villain in their stories about me. Whether they actually talked themselves into believing those stories or not. Though 1 or 2 people I can think of crossed me in a way that lead to some long-term payback, so they probably see me as the villain even though they were the ones that started it. Lol. To make a long story short, before the days of Uber I was stranded about 20 miles from home without much. Called a taxi. Had him drop me off about 7 or 8 blocks from my house and then I just bailed and hauled ass home. Ditching the fare. Poor guy just trying to make a living and I had him drive 20 miles out of his way for not so much as a penny. Still feel bad about that one. I'm a villain to the conservative asshat who tried to run me off the road because of a bumper sticker that seems to have hurt their feelings. The doctor who turned my voluntary into an involuntary stay when I answered yeah it's not my color. With a laugh when he said I heard you won't wear the gown. No one had asked me and the lady from the place that was helping me said as much, but the doctor went on a 15 minutes rant why I had to, even after I tried to explain I thought he was joking. Very shitty 3 days. I'm the villain to my 2nd grade teacher. Bitch hated me so much she slapped me and didn't get fired. I'm a safety inspector. I'm pretty sure the Internal Affairs Office gets invited to more Christmas parties than me. I ran parking garages for 15 years. That's gotta be good for a few thousand stories.